There is a moment in every man's life when he realizes something terrifying. He has spent years performing for an audience that was never really watching. The neighbor who barely remembers his name. The co-worker who forgot the conversation an hour after it happened. The stranger on the street who glanced at him for half a second and moved on with his own problems, his own fears, his own quiet war. And yet, how many decisions have you made because of them? How many words have you swallowed? How many dreams have you buried, not because they were wrong, but because you were afraid of what a ghost might think? 2,000 years ago, a man in chains understood something that most free men never will. His name was Epictetus. He was born a slave in the Roman Empire, his body owned by another man, his back marked by beatings, his leg permanently broken by a master's cruelty. And yet, from that position, stripped of freedom, stripped of status, stripped of everything the world uses to measure a man's worth, he built a philosophy so powerful that Roman emperors would study his words centuries after his death. How does a slave become untouchable? Not by escaping his chains, but by discovering that the real prison was never physical. Today, you will learn the 11 laws that turned philosophers, generals, and emperors into men who could not be broken by judgment, rejection, or the quiet cruelty of other people's opinions. This is not motivation. This is not a collection of pretty quotes to forget by tomorrow. This is a system, a discipline, a war fought silently inside the mind that most people never even know they're losing. Stay until the end. Because law number 9 is the one most people ignore. And it's the one that changes everything. In the year 108 AD, in a small room in Nicopolis, Epictetus gathered his students and gave them a single sentence that would echo for 2 millennia. Some things are within our power, while others are not. This sounds simple. It is not. Think about the last time someone said something cruel about you. Think about the last time you replayed it in your mind. At 2 a.m., in the shower, while driving, while trying to fall asleep. You were fighting a war you could never win, because their opinion was never yours to control. What they think of you, not in your power. What they say behind your back, not in your power. How they interpret your silence, your success, your failure, none of it is yours. What is yours? Your judgment, your response, your character, the quality of your actions. Epictetus divided the entire universe into these 2 categories, and he taught his students to stop bleeding energy into the first one. Marcus Aurelius, the most powerful man on earth, emperor of Rome, commander of legions, ruler of tens of millions, wrote in his private journal, never meant for publication, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This is not resignation. This is not giving up. This is precision. It is choosing exactly where to spend the only currency you actually own, your attention. Every time you obsess over someone's opinion, you are pouring your limited life force into a bucket with no bottom. It will never be full. It will never satisfy you. And the moment you finally understand this, really understand it, not just intellectually, but in your bones, something shifts. You stop performing. You start living. The Stoics had a strange habit. Before any important event, a speech, a negotiation, a difficult conversation, they would mentally rehearse the worst possible outcome, not to be pessimistic, to be prepared. Seneca, tutor to Nero and one of the wealthiest men in Rome, wrote to his friend Lucilius, "He who has anticipated the coming of troubles takes away their power when they arrive." Here is the trick most people never learn. Rejection feels devastating only when it is unexpected. When you have already walked through the scenario in your mind, the disapproving look, the mocking comment, the cold silence, the real event loses its sting. You have already survived it, in advance, on your own terms. Try this exercise right now, mentally. Imagine the worst thing someone could say about your next decision. Really sit with it. Let it land. Notice something? You're still here. You're still breathing. The world did not end. That is Premeditatio Malorum. It is emotional armor forged in imagination, so that reality, when it comes, finds nothing left to destroy. On Marcus Aurelius's desk sat a symbol most men today would call morbid, a skull, a constant silent reminder, not to depress him, to free him. Because here is the uncomfortable truth. In 100 years, no one alive today will remember the argument you're afraid of losing. The person judging you right now will be dust, just as you will be dust. The opinion that keeps you awake at night will vanish into a silence so total, it will be as if it never existed. Marcus wrote, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think." This is not nihilism, it is liberation. When you truly understand the brevity of your existence, the fear of judgment becomes almost comically small. Why would a dying man, and we are all dying slowly every single day, waste his remaining hours performing for an audience that won't even remember the show? Memento Mori doesn't make life meaningless. It makes it urgent. It strips away everything false and leaves only what matters. How you spend the time you have, not how you're perceived while spending it. Epictetus said something that sounds almost too simple to be profound. Men are disturbed not by events, but by their opinions about events. The same criticism can destroy one man and be completely ignored by another. The same rejection can end one person's confidence and barely register on someone else. What's the difference? Not the event, the interpretation. Someone calls you weak. That is a fact. Sound waves, words, nothing more. The moment you decide it means something about your worth, you have added your own judgment on top of it. And that judgment, unlike their words, is entirely yours to control. This is not about pretending insults don't happen. It's about recognizing that the sting comes from the meaning you attach, not the words themselves. Change the meaning, and you change the entire experience. Marcus Aurelius began nearly every morning with the same mental exercise, reminding himself that today he would encounter ungrateful people, arrogant people, deceitful people, jealous people. Why? Because expecting otherwise is a guaranteed path to suffering. When you wake up in the morning, tell yourself, the people I deal with today will be meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous, and surly. This sounds cynical, but it's actually deeply compassionate toward yourself. If you expect people to always be fair, kind, and rational, every act of judgment or cruelty will feel like a personal betrayal. But if you understand, truly understand, that human beings are flawed, fearful, and often projecting their own insecurities onto others, their judgment stops being a wound and becomes simply weather. Something that happens, something you walk through, not something that defines you. Here is a question almost no one asks themselves honestly. Whose life are you actually living? The Stoics believed in a concept called oikeiosis, the process of understanding what truly belongs to you, what is truly yours, starting with your own values and expanding outward. If your actions are anchored to your own defined principles, not to the shifting, unpredictable opinions of a crowd, judgment loses its power over you, because you're no longer measuring yourself against an external, moving target. You're measuring yourself against something fixed, your own code. Seneca wrote, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it." And there is no greater waste than living a life dictated by people who will never have to face the consequences of your choices. Judgment about the past cannot be undone. Judgment feared about the future has not yet happened. The only place where you actually exist, where you have any power at all, is right now. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself constantly, confine yourself to the present. Most anxiety about what others think is actually time travel, replaying a past comment, or pre-living a future rejection that hasn't occurred. Neither exists except in your mind. The present moment, by contrast, rarely contains the judgment you fear. It usually just contains this breath, this task, this conversation. It sounds unrelated to the topic of judgment, but it isn't. Gratitude shifts your entire nervous system from scarcity, the fear that you're not enough, to sufficiency, the recognition that you already are. A man who feels complete does not need external validation. A man terrified of others' opinions is almost always a man secretly starving for approval he never received. Marcus Aurelius practiced daily gratitude not as a soft, sentimental habit, but as a discipline that reinforced his independence from external validation. This is the law most people ignore, and the one that changes everything. Comparison is the exact mechanism that makes you vulnerable to judgment in the first place. If you're constantly measuring yourself against others, then naturally, their opinion of you becomes the scoreboard. Epictetus taught his students to run their own race, on their own terms, according to their own nature, not the nature of the man next to them. Every man's task in life is that of a comparison with himself, not with others. The moment you stop comparing, judgment loses its reference point. There's no scoreboard left for other people to control. Not all criticism is worthless. The Stoic response is not to ignore all feedback. That would be arrogance, not wisdom. The response is to filter it. Ask, is this criticism accurate? If yes, use it. It's a gift, however uncomfortable. If it's false, born of jealousy or malice, it holds no weight, and you let it pass through you like wind through an open window. This filter transforms criticism from a weapon into a tool. The final law is the hardest and the most important. All the wisdom above is useless if it doesn't translate into action. Understanding the dichotomy of control means nothing if you still let fear of judgment paralyze your decisions. The Stoics were not passive philosophers. Marcus Aurelius led legions into battle. Epictetus, despite his broken body, taught openly, defying the risks of his time. Seneca advised an emperor while knowing it could cost him his life, and eventually it did. Courage, in Stoic terms, was never the absence of fear. It was acting correctly despite it. You now hold 11 tools forged over 2,000 years, tested by slaves who became philosophers and philosophers who advised emperors. None of it works if it stays as information. It only works if you apply it. Today, in the next conversation, the next decision, the next moment someone's opinion tries to control your behavior. If this video gave you something real, hit like. It helps more people find these ideas. Subscribe if you want to keep building this mindset with me. And if you're ready to go deeper, the next video is waiting for you right there. Until then, walk your own path.